Harris.
Harris. I was
Yeah.
about to say Harris.
No,
Yeah, that's a good
Tyler
one.
here.
Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Harris and Tyler. I'm King. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet
Tori.
Tori.
All right. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We are good. All right. So, you guys believe in an afterlife?
Yes, I do.
I have mixed reviews of it, honestly.
In what way?
I don't believe in the traditional sense per se, so I don't believe in a heaven or a hell, but I do think that there has to be an afterlife of some form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any idea or?
I don't know, because it's like kind of I guess where your conscience is, but I feel like just for everything to fade to black and then everything just ends, I feel like there has to be an experience within that.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do feel like there is maybe a continuation of something. I don't know what it is exactly, but whether it be into like another like life form or spiritual essence, I really have no idea. I mean, I'm not really a religious person at all though, but like I know like I always kind of like learn things from different from Buddhist, from like Taoism, from Christianity, from Islam. Just like I kind of just get like little gold nuggets from everything like that because everybody has like some good information that they like to give out. So so I don't have like a clear exact view of what it is that happens after though, but.
All right. So you guys believe in God?
In the Christianity, that God?
Yeah.
No, I do
Okay.
not. I do
All right.
not.
Okay.
Debatable. I don't know. I have like on and off reviews about it. Sometimes I feel like I do. Sometimes I feel like I don't.
What about any other God?
I like the idea of a God. However, I think as there's so many different religions that to place one God as the actual God and all others are false, I don't agree with. So I would say that I like the idea of God.
You like the idea
Yeah,
of God?
I like the idea.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was the question though again? I forgot.
You said, because both of you guys said you didn't know. So like with the Christian God, but any other God?
Any other God I believe in? No, not really. To be
No.
honest with you, no.
Just know you don't believe in God.
I mean, like I said, I'm on and off about it. Like I come from a Muslim family or anything like that. So I mean,
Oh, you do? Okay.
yeah. But I mean, I've kind of had my own like individual beliefs about it and everything like that. But like I said, I've been on and off about it, so I can't really give a clear answer to that. Really honest with you.
So do you guys believe in evolution?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. We
For
do.
sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you guys believe that nothing created everything?
Not per se. I know that there's going way back in it. You look at atoms and those atoms going together. I don't know the entirety behind the Big Bang, and what was before the Big Bang, but I guess in a way I do agree that nothing created something.
Nothing
No,
created something.
I do believe something did do all this stuff. But I mean, with like all these religions, I feel like there's always like loopholes that you always kind of find within it. And then like I'm also a guy that's based off of evidence and everything like that. So it's just like just show me something, and then I'll have some insight. But then I guess that's where faith and everything like that comes from like a lot of places. So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So nothing created everything. Do you believe that building, that nothing created that building back there?
No.
Someone
I would
built it,
say-
right?
Yeah, I would say
So-
that somebody built that, and then if you look like at the individual levels and you look at like what the building's made out of, and then how did the original source material get, for example, the brick. How did the brick get there?
Yeah.
Someone
The
created
evolution,
the brick.
exactly.
Yeah.
The evolution between how brick was used as a brick and before it was used as just a random sediment in the ground. I see that in a way.
Right. So basically, someone took something that was there, elements,
Absolutely.
put them together,
Yeah.
and created.
Yeah, and that was for us to do that. Some things, like for example, if you were to say the Big Bang, you would look at that. That was like a more of a natural thing that just happened because of a reaction between two elements or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
if the elements weren't there, if it was nothing, then how would those elements? Then how would that come into play?
So I think it has to deal with hydrogen and a couple.
But if there's no hydrogen,
Absolutely, that's going
that's
going
one
far
thing.
that back, going back that far. I'm not really educated. I guess I don't have the.
it's tough because nothing created everything seems
I know, it seems,
almost.
almost impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand how God can be the one that determines what's good and bad while also being the person to sit there and let it all happen.
Right. Okay.
In a way.
Can I ask you some questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you believe you're a good person?
I would say I'm kind of in the middle. I've got some good things, some bad
I'll
things.
say the
about
same
me.
thing. Yeah.
Good person.
Yeah.
All right. Can I test you guys on that?
Sure.
Have you ever told a lie?
Absolutely.
How many lies have you told?
Too many to count.
Countless.
Countless
lies.
Too many lies.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What do we call people who lie?
I guess traditional norm would be you would call somebody who lies a liar.
Liar,
Maybe
yeah,
a
liar.
dishonest person.
Liar.
Yeah.
And then have you ever stolen anything?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. For
sure.
Okay.
From
Stolen.
stores and people.
Yeah. So what do we call people who steal things?
You could call them thief, stealer.
Thieves. All right. Stealer. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
something
good.
like that. Yeah.
All right. And then, have you ever taken the Lord's name in vain?
Absolutely.
As in what? Was I mean, like just say, of
Like,
course, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
Yeah, I've got
Plenty of times,
I've got
yeah.
to bleep that out now.
No, that's fine.
And I don't know how to do that.
gosh dang.
You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll figure it out one day.
Sorry about that.
So blasphemy, that's called blasphemy, all right, and that means taking the creator who created everything and created you guys and using his name as rubbish. So that would be like taking your mom's name and using it as a curse word. Okay, would you guys use your mom's name as a curse word?
No.
I don't. I mean, if it made sense, absolutely, I probably would.
Look at a woman with lust. In your heart, you've committed adultery. Have you guys looked with lust?
Yes.
What do you mean by lust? If you want to define lust for me.
Basically, undress a woman and
Is that what it is?
yeah.
Sexually, I guess.
So what was the statement again?
Do you look at a girl with lust? Like in the comments,
As-
how
oh,
we're just looking at
oh.
girls that are pretty. Absolutely, yes, we do.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Physicality and everything like that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I'm not judging you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
You've just told me you are lying, thieving, blaspheming, adulterers at heart. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So would that still consider being a good person?
Yes, absolutely. Because
So-
there's so much more. There's so much more to it. I think it's just our morality.
So you would say that someone who cheated on their wife is a good person?
Absolutely. I mean,
He might have done some other good,
yeah,
you know. So I mean,
just because he cheats on his wife, you can't label somebody. I feel like just because of something bad.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's say somebody rapes 3 9-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Okay, and murders them. Still a good person?
So once again, that's terrible. I will say that the person who has raped and has killed 9-year-old girls is 100% not as good of a person.
I feel like if it's a
probably.
continuous thing where you haven't learned your lesson from it, and then you just keep on doing it, and you should know that's the wrong thing, then yeah, I think you're a bad person. Because honestly, you've had the opportunity to look at your life. There's other people that have gone to jail. They're like, wow, I really messed up my life.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have made that decision. But yeah, they still continue to do that stuff. They know
Yeah.
what they're doing. you
Yeah.
know, so I would consider that. If it's like a repetitive action upon that, then yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, cool. So going back to the 10 Commandments and you guys is 4 that we went through. If you guys did believe in heaven and hell, if you were to look at those 4 things, and God judges you on those 4 things, then how would you go to heaven or would you go to hell?
That's a great question. I think that God would have to look at other things, but looking at those specific things, I think I'm fairly certain that I would go to heaven.
So if you stole a car, okay,
mm-hmm.
you guys steal a car, you go to court,
Yeah.
the judge says, look guys, you're guilty. We found you guilty.
Yeah.
Would you go to jail or would they let you off? I'm talking about proven guilty.
Proven guilty.
Fully guilty.
This is what we choose for, if we could choose for ourselves, essentially, in a way, or.
No, this is like if you literally stole a car,
Yeah,
okay,
we got it.
and you went through the court process and they found you guilty of stealing a car. Would you go to jail or would you be freed?
Okay.
Oh, you would 100% be going. You would have legal ramifications.
Legal.
100%.
Right. Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
So why do you think that it would be different with God?
Because God, I think, is more dictated off of morality, and it's like an actual thing. If you go
Right, but if he's dictated off morality, what you just told me was that those 4 things, that that's morality and he's dictated off morality, and that's immoral what you did, then would you not at that?
Well, I think that if you're looking at it, is it immoral? Absolutely. Would you go to hell for it? No. But if you look at like literally like stealing a car, is that a bad thing to do? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that the stealing the car. I'm talking about like just looking at it in a logical, legalistic way of would you be judged? If you were judged, would the judge let you off?
He probably wouldn't. But fortunately, I think with religion, especially Christianity, God does forgive all sins, no matter when you do it. So even the person who has raped, the children, I'm pretty sure can seek salvation in Jesus.
I don't
Okay.
understand
Which
that
is-
though. With the thing, if a guy rapes a girl and then like he wants forgiveness from God and everything like that, but then it happens like a second or a third time, and then he's like using that. He's like, oh,
As a
well, it's
crutch.
another sin.
Yeah.
Please just forgive me for this.
Yeah, but then you have to realize did he actually
About
put
that
his
life.
did he
Yeah.
put his trust in
That's-
Jesus? So
exactly, yeah.
at this point, so let's say that you have the courtroom, right?
Yeah.
Now instead of the car now we're talking about the 4 things we talked about before.
Yeah.
You're sitting in court, The court is the throne room of God, right? And he's judging. He judges everyone. Okay, he's going to judge everyone. And the reason he judges everyone, and I'll give you this, just kind of a side note. The reason that he judges good and bad is that if he was to pull bad people into heaven,
You corrupt it.
exactly. So would it actually be heaven,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm,
So it'd be
exactly, yeah.
right. So why would a loving, all loving God bring bad, evil people into heaven, right? And so I'm going to keep going with this courtroom scenario.
Yeah.
So you're in court. God says, "Hey, look, you're guilty,
Mhm.
all right?" And you guys, look, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I repent.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he going to let you off?
Courtroom, in a legal sense, no sir,
No.
no way.
No way. They won't, right?
No.
They won't. No way. It's not going to happen.
No.
So, and then you talking about salvation through
Yeah.
Jesus. So the only way to enter into heaven is through Jesus. Okay, right? You guys know that.
Yeah,
So do you guys you grew up Muslim?
Yeah, but I'm not like a religiously
Practicing.
Yeah, I'm not
You
practical.
grew up Christian?
And I grew up Christian,
Yeah,
absolutely.
my mom's
Okay.
more kind of like the
they
practical
didn't,
one.
yeah, they didn't. My parents didn't really care. They let me do my own thing. I explored with church. I experimented with it because I was so interested in it. But I wouldn't even consider myself an atheist. I think that like I said, there is a God.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do think there is a God?
I do think that there is a God. I change myself between no
Yeah.
and yes, but I would say overall, I feel like there has to be something out there, kind of
Yeah.
like in your way. I don't think that nothing necessarily created.
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of the
something.
same way. Like, even though I do have questions of God and everything like that, still don't consider myself an atheist. Like, I do believe in something. I just don't know what it is exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And so so now we talked about the fact that you go off those four things.
Mhm.
Courtroom, you're definitely
Yeah, you're done.
you're
Mhm.
done, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then what God did was he brought Jesus in the mix. So now a lot of people say to me, why in the world would God, who's an all-loving God, sin, allow evil to go on in this world, right?
Yeah.
And why wouldn't he do something about it,
Mhm.
right? Well, what he did was he sent his son Jesus. He actually took himself, okay, and in the person of Jesus died on the cross for not just for your sins but as you. So
Yeah.
he actually, the sins that you guys committed, the rapists and all that, he took all of that. Where you said everybody's forgiven in Christianity, right? You said everyone's forgiven. Well, everyone's forgiven because of the cross, but it's those who put their faith in Jesus is actually who can enter into the kingdom.
Yeah.
Now, what if I told you guys that Christianity is not necessarily about getting into heaven?
I think that overall, I would say that Christianity, a lot of people lose sense of what Christianity means, and they do see that as it's all as the end game of getting into heaven. But
You should keep going.
yeah, I
sorry.
was gonna say, like, it's not all about that. You have the 10 Commandments because it makes you a productive member of society, and it makes you a good person if you follow the 10 Commandments. It's the Bible. It's a Bible. It's a Bible and it's the Bible. So you're not going to be traditionally a bad person if you really are doing what you preach.
Right.
Yeah.
So now anybody could do those things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And see themselves as good. So what separates somebody who's just reading a book and doing what's done
Totally.
and then actually being a Christian?
I think being a good Christian traditionally not even traditionally. I think being a good Christian would be teaching others about the belief in God,
Applying it, I feel as well, maybe.
and applying it
into
and
the real
trying
world.
to, rather than just do things for the end game, is to give things for other people for them.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good one.
What about what if I told you guys that that instead of you having to, well, have you ever heard of like the fact that God can reside in you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like his spirit can actually reside in you?
I've heard, yeah.
So do you guys feel like that is something that interests you at all, or is that something that you guys are like question that or like have any thoughts on that?
So, I would say that maybe God exists in every single person, and maybe they just, I don't know, maybe don't differentiate. I could consider, for example, myself, my morality. I could consider my God, my compass, what I think is right or what is wrong. It can be different from other people.
Yeah.
That's my personal view.
I never really had like a thought of that, really, to be honest with you. So honestly, I can, yeah.
What if it wasn't a moral compass, though? What if it was actually the God who created all things, who created you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, who designed your, like he designed Taylor, right?
Tyler.
Tyler. Sorry.
Absolutely,
Designed your eye.
Yeah.
137 million these little cells in your
yeah.
in your eye, right?
Yeah.
Like made them exactly the way they make them, right?
Yeah.
What what if he wanted to live inside you?
Yeah.
Like not just be out there doing whatever, but actually live inside you.
Yeah, I think that that's actually like for the people who do have Christianity, that's what they are empowered by. The people who can stand up and preach and teach for others in Christianity. I think that that's exactly what's going on. That
But what if God
is in
what if God wanted that for you too?
Absolutely. I think that God being an all-loving, not person, entity would want that for everybody, but he would also want people to experience life at the same, at their, how they wanted. I feel like, as long as it wasn't detrimental to others. I feel like.
How do you feel about that, Harris?
Sorry, I was kind of like got lost right now. So sorry. Yeah, there's so much going on. I'm like, God.
So there is so much. It's a lot.
If you just repeat it one more time.
So like,
try to go.
What if I told you that God actually wants to reside in you? Like the creator of all things, the creator, he created you, created your mother, he created everything.
Yeah, and what if he wanted to be a part of me, is what you're saying? Or like
not just being part of you, but make his home in you.
Make his home in you. What would I think about it? I mean, what would you...
Well, I mean, does that something that interests you at all? Like, does it kind of make your question some things a little bit differently, or is it?
I don't know if I ever thought of God living inside me. I always thought of myself as my own individual, I have my own values, I have my own morals, just like every other individual on this earth, honestly. So, I mean, it's kind of a difficult thing to say, because, I mean, depending on whether, like, you're religious to God or not, or whether you're devoted to him, I mean, never really had that thought come in mind, to be honest with you. So I don't know if I give you, like, an answer of how he would reside into me. I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I just can't see that.
So what happened was, and I just gave you guys the story, and you probably know more because you were raised in a Christian home. But so Jesus was a real person. You guys believe that?
Oh yeah. I visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Israel.
Awesome.
I've been 5 feet. I know that Jesus was a real person and he died on the cross 100%. I was right there.
Yeah.
But
so he lived those 10 commandments that we talked about. He lived completely guilt-free. Okay, so he was not guilty. He was sin-free. He had no sin whatsoever, none at all. They murdered him on a cross. Okay, he died. All right, and then he rose again. So he actually came back to not as in like a reincarnated or that sense, but actually was resurrected. Okay, and resurrected by the Spirit of God. Okay, and he what that did was that actually made it a way for him to make a home in you, so the Spirit of God can actually reside in you. Because here's how it works: the reason that he did that is because the reason he died on the cross, it wasn't just because he wanted to die on the cross. All right, the reason he died on the cross is because you have sin, I have sin. Okay, we all have sin. He took all of that sin on himself, so that he could make a way for God to enter into you. So and that's what I was saying about like Christianity not being about heaven, getting into heaven. It's actually about heaven coming into you. All right, and coming into you. So then what God wants to do is, you guys have school work, you guys work too. So you have jobs, you have issues, stress, girl issues, all this stuff, right? All kinds of stuff going on, right? So God does actually care about your life. He does actually care about it, and he wants to actually make a home in you so that he can guide you through life.
Lead the way.
Not based on your understanding, but based on actually he's the creator. So based on his actual understanding. So I just wanted to, I mean, I don't really have a whole lot more, but I just wanted to kind of challenge you guys, see if you guys think about this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think about that a lot, and I think that's a great point, that Jesus died on the cross to live within us all. Yeah, that's a good point. I personally, I wouldn't say that I'm past the point of no return in terms of religion, but to place Christianity as being the ultimate religion would be me turning my back to all other religions, in my opinion. And I'm not ready to turn my back towards all types of religions. However, I feel like it's the same. If you worship another deity or god without knowing you're going to switch over to Christianity, you are ostracized from Christianity, and that's tough.
You say before you come to Christianity,
so, like,
or
obviously, if you worship another, like, so say I say here, like, oh, if I worship another religion, Christians are going to ostracize me. God is going to ostracize me, and you might just say, oh, that's because you haven't found him. But I feel like, yeah, like if you worship another god or if you do anything.
give me an example of another god.
So, for example, Allah. Yeah. Even though Allah is literally God. Okay, maybe that's not the greatest example. We can't use Islam. Going for another like Hinduism, all the various gods. They have hundreds of gods.
Yeah.
If you were to support Hinduism, it blocks off you wouldn't be able to.
But did you know that Hinduism, if you support Hinduism,
yeah.
and you support Christianity, that you're blocked off from Hinduism? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Same thing with Islam.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's the whole coexist thing is a sham.
Yeah.
Because you actually can't go into a faith and be like, hey, I'm this, but I'm
Yeah.
also this.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's something that we struggle with. I feel like, at least I struggle with, definitely, because there's so much wrong, there's so much right. I know Christianity, there's a lot of things in it that are right. I know there's a lot of things in Christianity that are wrong, absolutely. But I can't be the decider and pick one or the other. I have to just kind of be.
What would be the turning factor for you think?
The turning factor, I mean, it's so tough to say, but in a modern world, I don't want to offend you or any.
You're not going to offend me.
Okay.
I'm zero.
Okay.
Zero offense can be.
Okay, because we don't want that. But
no.
I would need 100% facts. Honest to God.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. It really is.
I don't believe that there is a God in the sense of what Christians preach. However, I know that if he was a God, he'd be great. He'd be everything. He'd be a God. It's just to say what we think of him, or people that wrote the books of the Bible 2,000 years ago, they have no idea. They were ignorant, unfortunately. In my opinion.
So did you know that when you say ignorant, so like let's take
like a 6-year-old student here.
700 years before the birth of Jesus, do you know that it was prophesied his birth, his ministry, and actually his resurrection, his crucifixion and resurrection was prophesied over 700 years before he even entered onto the earth. So whether they're at a educational level lower than where we are now,
or just
right?
Yeah.
The fact that was prophesied and then it actually happened, because historically it's true facts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that being said, I'm not sure. I can't dictate whether or not we can give them credibility because they were not educated back then. But I do know that you take a simple 10-year-old off the streets and they're going to be more intelligent than probably the most, honestly, I could go out on a limb and say the most advanced scholars, right? A 10-year-old from current society would know more than one of the most advanced scholars from back in their time, because we have built up on so many facts, so many facts upon things that they never had. They didn't even know if the world was flat, if we were revolving around the sun, etc. They didn't know how the world works. And so that's the disconnect that I think a lot of people our age feel sometimes with religion now. It seems like a la land. It seems fake and it seems made up, and it seems it's just not possible, even as much as we want to believe in it. And you hear us, we want to believe in it. Trust me. I've been to church. I want to believe in there's an afterlife or whatever. I don't want to die and have everything black, but realistically, that's just what we've come to the conclusion of.
Okay.
We've searched everywhere. I mean, I don't know about you, Harris. I've searched. I don't want to.
I always have questions about it,
Like
but
this.
you can never get a clear answer, like I said about
Okay.
it.
And then you asked us earlier, what do we think happens whenever we die? I was like, I feel like there has to be something. There has to be.
Yeah.
It just end all right there, I feel, for sure.
If it ends all there, then it's just scary. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, so.
Cool. Thank you guys for your time.
Absolutely.
Don't leave
man.
yet because
I
I'm going to talk.
appreciate
I just
Yeah.
want to. I think we're running out of light.